Hello, everybody. This is Edgar Eddie Fernandez. Welcome to the podcast Experiential Knowledge, where we optimize and understand the ideas, the skills, and experiences of people to avoid people get injured or killed, reduce incidents, reduce cost, increase performance and production. Well, the podcast of today is the future element of the current wood manufacturing practices to prevent forms from 83. Forms from 83 comes from the FDA. Anybody who is not familiar with the pharmaceutical, food, and medical device industry, so they are if you are in the United States or you want to export medication or any medical device or food to the United States, you are subject to the FDA audits. So when they find something that is they call it non-conformance, they issue a form 483, and you need to fix it as soon as possible because maybe you are not allowed to sell your products in the United States if you are coming from these industries. Well, let's get on the main topic of this podcast. So we were talking about in the previous materials, podcasts and articles about the reports of the top 10 CGMP citations for the fiscal year of 2008. And as I have said, there are the same violations in the last 10 years at least. Well, obviously, quality management programs, safety management programs, etc., they have been evolved. Is now these standards they try to, or they add a component they call commitment from top management. So let me give you a scope of this or a brief introduction. There is ICHQ standards, and the ICHQ 9 is a standard they call quality risk that pretty much is telling you how to perform quality risk assessments. But if you read the standard, pretty much is coming from any process safety the process safety standard actually, or the process safety management program, 14 elements. They call HACCPs as the same, what if plus HACCPs, fault tree analysis, all those type of methodologies, only to assess quality risk. So pretty much the standard is the same. They have the same, the same process. They have the same cycle: identify, evaluate, assess, and then control. However, this process safety management program has changed, the ICHQ9 no, and now the risk-based process safety went from 14 elements to 20 elements, and the 6 new elements they call management involvement. That really is not in my opinion, is not the right name. The right name is cultural transformation. Because really, before laying down these programs, you need to do a cultural transformation in your organization to understand and optimize the ideas, as is the goal of this podcast, the experiential knowledge, where people from in the organization they are able to express their ideas, and the management are capable and able to understand them and make the place safer, or or at least be able to predict non-conformant scenarios. That is the goal. Why these elements has changed? Well, as everything people has changed, new generations they think different. So now there is this is the question actually, how we can improve our quality management system to predict non-conformance scenarios, according to the title of this podcast. Something that many companies do in the pharmaceutical, food, and medical device industry, they focus on the technical aspects of the QA, the FDA, the quality risk, compliance, and quality management. And actually, you can find a lot of experts through these industries, really, really capable, really, really well trained, and with really, really good experience on these topics. However, something that has been found, it's these people or this expert, I would say, to be more respectful, they don't have enough power to make changes in the organizations. They need to report to the top management to explain what type of changes they need to be made by the organization, and the top management decide if the change proceed or not. However, top management is not involved and hasn't been involved in the process of the decision making down when these experts lay out teams and trying to find the solutions. On this process, on this stage of that process, top management is not involved, and really is the main problem, or is the main roadblock to start decreasing these citations little by little, and then avoid recurrence of those ones every year, and they are the same since 10 years ago. So now what we need, so we have enough technical aspect, technical expert, really technical knowledge. We don't need anything now anymore. So because these people they keep updated every time on any changes of the FDA, any changes of the standard, GMP as a standard, quality risk standards, or pharmaceutical quality management programs. The things that we need to do actually, or the things that we need to have in the organization, is something that is called creativity, sharing ideas, problem solving, that is becoming more critical to develop and to identify that predict non-conformant scenarios. I was talking with an expert actually last week, and another expert yesterday actually. This lady works in Japan and the United States as well, and she was telling me that really Japanese and people who work in that part of the planet, they first go to cultural transformation. Here, this side of the globe, we go first to technical or to implement programs, safety or quality or compliance, without understanding the culture of the organization. What type of culture you have, and how you're gonna change that culture to start getting the ideas and getting the ideas and solutions from everybody, from people who work at line on the production line, and then make this the quality robust your quality assurance program or your quality management program. By predicting, actually, that's the idea of the quality risk, is predicting risk that they're gonna cause you, or they're gonna lead to a non-conformance, and if you don't identify these ones, they can actually jeopardize the safety of the patient or your customers when they buy your medication or food or the medical devices. And really, as this has been a challenge, and that's the reason why the numbers from report from the FDA or for the GMP trends hasn't changed in many years, because it really is not a technical aspect. The report from the FDA looks like it's a technical aspect, but if you ask this simple question that, okay, why these reports? You do a report on the top 10 citations since 2005, they are the same. So the question is not technical knowledge, absolutely not. The question is cultural aspects of your organization. Some of the things actually they complicate it more, or they make more difficult at any organization, is having many cultures. They always ask how the safety cultures. What I mean, tell me how a safety culture is in an organization, looks like in an organization. What is the quality culture? So actually you are complicating more the things, because now you have 3-4 cultures at the organization, 3-4 systems that that everybody's pulling in many directions, and that's the reason you have those numbers. That's the reason the FDA finds a lot of non-conformances. So we need to tackle the basics first, and after we can introduce and lay down this type of management systems. So first you need to improve or find a better way to communicate ideas, skills, and experiences in your organization, not only for quality, only for sales, marketing, safety, and then after that you can lay it off, and actually you can create your own solutions to uh, to identify nonconformance in this case. The ICHQ7 and the ICHQ10 and Q9 is the frame, is the borderlines, is just boundaries when you need to operate. But it really, these standards are not telling you if you want to find a new process, a new way to find nonconformance and that is effective for your organization. You can do it, put it in a procedure, and then you respect that procedure, you follow it, and that's it. And then you answer, and the boundary is going to be those standards. It's something that we need to understand as well. So let me give you the steps. Actually, it's 4 steps to add the human approach element to the quality risk management program to identify or prevent nonconformances scenarios in your organization, in your company or organization. I mentioned the first one. Actually, it's step 1 is the top senior management involvement. This step is very critical. It's paramount actually. I found information published by some consultant experts in these topics, such as the McKinsey and Company, the CGMP trends, and the same side of the from the FDA analyzing some numbers, and then comparing other disciplines like the risk-based process safety on how they develop now the 20 elements. Because the ICHQ9 pretty much is coming from the management of change, that is change control system that is coming from management of change from the process safety, and is established on the ICHQ10. So really, the things they have the something that has been found. It's little or non-involvement from top senior management. By having said that, I'm not saying that they are not involved in the organization. What I'm saying is they are not involved in the process where these top experts in your company, on their companies, they are developing strategies, right, to assess quality risk, and then when they decided to make some changes, they propose these new changes, these new protocol, the new strategies to the top management, and top management made the final decision. That step actually is the thing that is causing problems, because it's not involvement on the critical and the critical step, and when people are doing the hard work of finding a new, assessing quality risk and bringing new action items and new ways to tackle that situation. So there is really a lack of the, I would say, knowledge, but the knowledge of the surroundings of what these non-conformance, or how we are predicting that non-conformance, the background of the non-conformance, and they decided yes or no in taking the criteria of finance, time, or sometimes power. So, and these organizations that I mentioned before, they are found also on their studies that there are these technical advisors, these technical people, experts, they have little or no power to make decisions. That is a problem. That's the reason why you have a lot of the top 10 citations from the FDA haven't changed in 10 years. It's a fact. I put it in some articles and previous podcasts. You can search them. I give all the facts there. So some questions arise to measure involvement from top management. And let me formulate these questions for you. So do you have a transformation indicators to measure culture? So do we have transformational indicators to measure culture? So we measure the basic things of any organization that happens at any organization, excuse me. Maybe yes, maybe not, I don't know. It's something that as an organization you need to discover. Do you measure the involvement of top management in the company's culture? Something that you need to measure as a top manager, as a CEO, COO, as a vice president of quality. That's something that should be done. Have you defined the culture of your company? Very critical question. Actually, let me rephrase it. Do you know the current culture of your company? what type of culture you have right now. Have you developed leaders through the organization? Very important. Very important. I mean, you don't need to decide or make the decision of everything, and you need help, and you need help at all levels, and you need to develop leaders from the floor. I mean, from the floor to the top. So lead hands, supervisors, or senior operators that work on the pharmaceutical or the food and medical devices on the manufacturing side. You need to develop leaders there as well. And believe me, it's going to change a lot. Do you set a path to follow, or do you establish direction? So this is creativity. So you allow people to express their ideas, and you optimize and understand those ideas. Make a project like a lean manufacturing, Kaizen blitz your procedure, Kaizen blitz your processes, like change controls, etc. And then find where you are failing or you are possible failures to prevent non-conformances. Have you done that? That's a path to follow, nor established direction. Normally, the things that are happening now, it's touch management, established direction, with no taking advantage of those ideas from the bottom, below that structure. Have you set transformational goals to satisfy the hierarchy of Maslow pyramid? Basic needs. So it's very elemental and very basic needs that we need to do to transform organizations, but not many people actually, I would say not many people, not many organizations do that. And I'm convinced 100% if organizations in these three industries that they are under the FDA start doing that, the non-conformances they're going to reduce through the years, they start transforming culture. Step number 2. As an organization, it's imperative to understand what type of culture you have, like we mentioned in the first step, right? And it's a culture to set directions or paths. That's the thing. You need a culture to set paths, not directions. So frequently, organizations are used to set directions. I tell you what to do, this is the decision, and leave it with that. Therefore, you can ask yourself the following questions. Do I understand the experiences, ideas, and skills of people? Are you capable of optimizing ideas, experiences, and skills of people? Or do your employer feel that they are contributing? So your employees actually, they feel that they are contributing to the quality risk management program to identify non-conformances? Or let me rephrase again. Do your employees feel that they are contributing to the quality risk management program to identify non-conformant scenarios? So they are participating? That's the question when I said you set paths or you set directions. Very big difference. Organizations that are very successful, they set paths, not directions. They Kaizen blitz. They use. I'm not saying that is the only methodology, but the experience that I have, it's they set paths, no directions. They allow people to actually develop themselves. They develop leaders, and they allow people to run their projects and make their own decisions. And if something is major, obviously they need to consult top management to do that type of changes. But they have that power to make those changes in order to robust their quality management system. Step 3. At this step, the organization knows the current state of its culture. So now you transform everything, you know your culture. So now, therefore, so you are ready to set what type of culture you want. So, and so now the organization is ready to establish now the new transformational indicators that will help the management to measure the effectiveness of the new culture. And step number 4, now you are ready to make those changes, and you are ready to start setting boundaries to set values, rules, and policies. The question that come up or rise here is, what are those boundaries? So those boundaries, they are your ICH-Q7, ICH-Q9, Q8, and Q10. That's the boundaries for these type of industries on the FDA. Therefore, now you operate according to those boundaries. They tell you need to report deficiencies or non-conformances, you report no non-conformances. How you gonna report those ones is up to you. So you're gonna define your procedures. You're gonna define the system of reporting, and you don't have the participation on everybody. That's the reason why we have people making changes by hand, and they are not updated on the master batch record SOP, for example. And then when the FDA inspector comes or the auditor, and then they see the changes by hand, and then they see the procedure. Okay, th- these both documents don't concord, and that you have a non-conformance. So you need to establish that. But it's not only to establish another procedure, fight, and then training is the culture. So in this case, um, now you need to create different KPIs. So let me ask you this question. Do you have a key performance indicator that measures the effectiveness of the non-conformance scenario predictability? So really, how many times the same non-conformance is appearing or happening or occurring every time? So you measure that there should be zero, but you have in a 3 or 6 months and it appearing 6-7 times the same non-conformance. Now you have a roadblock there. You have an opportunity for improvement. We call it in that way, and that's the reason why culture is very important. Because now it's not about the technical aspect, like I said, it's about the culture. Because it's the same non-conformance appearing many times. The FDA auditor can tell you, well, you need to establish your CAPA system, your corrective and preventive actions. You need to see now your system to avoid that non-occurrence happen again. Yeah, but at the end, the FDA auditor is telling you in base of the standard, but not in base of the culture. That is really the basics and the base of your or any management program. So organizations, they need to have KPIs that measure effectiveness and be able to adjust to specific scenarios that can be lead to having Forms 483. So there are two main issues actually when the industries that are leading to having these same non-conformant scenarios year by year. One is a lack of knowledge of their own company culture, like I mentioned before, and second is a lack of transformational indicators that we allow organizations to identify and measure effectiveness. So actually, that's the one of the the second big issue. The effectiveness of the fundamental aspects such as meeting effectiveness, people involvement, optimization and understanding of ideas, skills, and experiences. To find solutions that fit the organization. That's another thing. That's the reason why at the beginning of this podcast I said you should be able to find your own solutions, your own systems, because it's going to fit your organization. It's going to fit the need that you have. So if you want to copy or try to copy what other pharmaceutical industry is doing, maybe or maybe not, you won't be successful. For me, it's not a surprise because this company B, is having another need. Is having other type of needs. They are having other type of necessities to transform their culture, and it's not necessarily the same as yours. Sorry, guys. No. So that's the reason why is these two main problems. So you need to find a solution that fits your organization. You need to measure the effectiveness, and you need to know your company culture. So to conclude this podcast and this video, okay, the organizations need to review the following three aspects: corporate resources and develop corporate resources that are deployed to meet customer needs. The second is the way of formal structures and processes are used to manage technical systems and achieve business objectives, and the idea that people think and feel about their work and conduct themselves in the workplace. So there are these three aspects of that organizations they need to take in count in order to robust your quality management program. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening to the Experiential Knowledge Podcast. That the goal of this podcast is to understand and optimize the ideas, skills, and experiences from people. Thank you very much. See you on the next episode. Bye.